Videos like this, and this are raking in thousands of dollars every month by creating AI generated story videos completely faceless. The problem that a lot of creators come across when you go into popular image generators in the AI space, it's very hard to get consistent characters. Although there have been consistent image generators out there, they have been very expensive up until now. So in this video, I'm going to show you a completely free image generator that's going to allow you to create consistent characters. The quality of this tool is absolutely insane. I'm going to walk you through from the very beginning, coming up with an idea. I'm also going to show you how to go about making the images consistent. And then I'm going to take it a step further, create a full video from the images that I've created so you can see how everything comes together. If that sounds good to you, be sure to drop us a like and consider subscribing. All the tools that I'll be using will be linked in the description as usual. The first thing we want to do is come up with what's called a character profile. Who the character that we are going to be creating is going to be. You can use ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever. I had a general idea, but it's great to use AI to flash out the finer details that you might not necessarily think of as you are coming up with the character yourself. I came up with a female character that you're going to be seeing throughout this video. Now that I've got this character, what I've then done is gone onto a free tool called Image FX. It's done by Google. What I've done is put the description of the character in this prompt box here. In this section here where it's got seed, I've clicked the lock button. The reason why you do that is every time you then go back in to create a different image, Google is going to remember, or Image FX rather, is going to remember what the character is meant to look like, even though it's in different scenes and different situations. So once you're happy with the character that is generated, and the reason why you do that is every time you then go back in to create a different image, make sure that you leave the base description of that character in here, so it's always the same person. I made the mistake of removing the entire prompt earlier, which is you don't want to do that. You want to leave just the basics. For example, it says here a young woman named Emily, short red hair, green eyes, in her blue sweater. Now, if your character is going to be always in that blue sweater in all these different scenes within the story, you want to leave that first part. But if your character is going to be in a yellow sweater in the next part, then obviously you want to change it from here. And at the end, you also want to go high contrast, realistic, natural light, highly detailed, just to get those finer details and quality of the image to come out as well. Once you've locked your character, you can then put that character in different scenes and different situations. With the help of Claude here, I've gone back and asked Claude to create a story for me around this character. I then went on to ask Claude to put the character in different scenes that mirror the actual story. So what's Emily doing in the first section of the story, middle, and so forth. I then took it a step further and asked Claude to create some prompts of what those images are going to look like throughout the story. I've actually pulled out 10 prompts from this long prompt that I've put here. Please add more detail to my idea so it fits a 5-minute video. Please also create 10 image prompts that match the different scenarios and so forth. I then went ahead and created all the different scenes, literally copied all of these individually. Each one came back into Image FX, made sure that I leave the base of the prompt here. So that first area is always going to be Emily. She's always going to have short red hair. She's always going to have green eyes. And in this particular story of mine, she's wearing a blue jumper. She's in a library at a university. And then from there, in terms of the action that she's taking, that's where it starts to change. In terms of the expression she's got on her face, that's where I added more detail to each individual image. I then went on to download those images. Because this is going to be an actual video and an actual story, I took the story that Claude created for me here. I then put that into ElevenLabs, which is one of my favorite text-to-speech tools. I think it's the highest quality text-to-speech tool out there. I've pasted the story here and I've had ElevenLabs read out the story, downloaded the voiceover, and next is go on to a tool that you might have heard of called CapCut, where I put everything together. So I then downloaded the images here, and as you can see, the quality is just ridiculous considering this is a completely free tool. I wonder how long it's going to be free for, because look at this, all consistent, all the same face in different situations, in different scenes, different scenarios, all the way up until the end. I added some captions on here as well, and all these tools are obviously available on this toolbar here at the bottom on CapCut. If you're not familiar with CapCut, I added this play pendulum effect, which just causes the images to move slightly, just to make it a bit more dynamic. Some black noise to make it look like a retro old TV. Added this vignette as well, which is this black part on the corners here. Added some music just to add to that creepy atmosphere. Going to play the video for you in just a second. It's just absolutely insane, the quality of this. So again, thinking of use cases, you might be wanting to write a book, you might be wanting to do a comic, you might be wanting to do a faceless, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, IG, wherever. The use cases are just endless. There's things like this that are going to separate you from the sea of other creators creating rubbish, poor quality AI generated content. When you're creating content like this, that is high quality, images, great quality, the voiceover is great, the story is good, put in just a bit more effort coming up with that video package, this is what's going to cause you to stand out.
Emily's pencil moved rhythmically across her journal, her short red hair occasionally falling in front of her green eyes as she sketched between notes. The massive Gothic University library hummed with the quiet energy of exam week, though fewer students lingered as evening approached. Wearing her favorite blue sweater for comfort, Emily had claimed a secluded study nook surrounded by ancient oak bookshelves that reached toward the vaulted ceiling. The first rumble of thunder barely registered in her mind. Only when a flash of lightning illuminated the stained glass windows did Emily look up, surprised to see the dark storm clouds gathering outside. She stretched and checked her watch. 8:45 p.m. She hadn't realized how late it had gotten. As the storm intensified, the old library lights flickered momentarily. Emily glanced around, suddenly aware of the unusual silence. Where were the librarians? The other students? Another flash of lightning revealed empty tables and abandoned chairs. She was completely alone in the massive Gothic space. "Hello?" she called out, her voice sounding small in the cavernous room. No answer came except for the howling wind outside. Just as Emily turned back to her work, a loud thud made her jump. A leather-bound book had fallen from a nearby shelf, landing spine up on the worn carpet. She stared at it, heart racing. Before she could move to pick it up, another book tumbled down a few shelves away. Then another, and another. Emily stood slowly, watching in disbelief as 3 more books fell in perfect sequence, creating an eerie path down the center aisle between the stacks. "Is someone there?" she called, louder this time, her voice echoing back to her. "This isn't funny." Only the storm answered, a violent crash of thunder that made the windows rattle. The ancient chandeliers swayed slightly, casting shifting shadows across the room. Emily's hands trembled as she gathered her journal, textbooks, and pencils, stuffing them haphazardly into her backpack. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As she zipped her bag closed, the library plunged into darkness for a terrifying moment before the emergency lights kicked on, bathing everything in an eerie blue glow. Outside, the rain came down in sheets. Emily pulled up her hood and slipped on her headphones, trying to calm her nerves with music as she stepped into the downpour. The campus pathways gleamed wet and empty beneath the old iron lampposts. She was halfway across the quad when she saw it. A dark figure standing motionless beneath a flickering lamppost, wearing what appeared to be a long, hooded cloak. Emily froze, music still playing in her ears. The figure was too tall, too still to be a normal student. Emily quickened her pace, cutting across the wet grass toward her dormitory. When she glanced back, her heart nearly stopped. The figure had moved, now standing closer, though she hadn't seen it walk. Breaking into a run, Emily splashed through puddles, her backpack bouncing against her spine. The music in her headphones began to distort, static replacing the melody. Behind her, she could hear footsteps, too quick, too close. She risked one final look over her shoulder. The hooded figure was right behind her,